Hello, today I'm going to be looking at how to put together the topper I made for this card. So this has got a foiled element as well as some stamping on it. So first of all I'm going to look at how to position the foiling. So I'm using this hot foil stamp which is a floral arrangement hot foil stamp from the Le Petit Jardin collection. Okay, so what I've done, I've sorted out the die I'm going to use to cut it, or you could just trim it to size if you don't have a square die to cut it with, but you get a nicer finish with a die. And I've cut a piece of card just a bit bigger than I need. And I'm going to want my hot foil stamp to be positioned so that I'm going to cut, not use the whole stamp, I'm going to have it kind of so that it's in the corner and filling the corner. So what I need to do is have it upside down because it works like a stamp. Although we position it that way up, it's still pattern side to the card. And kind of put that in one corner and just make sure that I'm going to be able to position my die so that the portion of the stamp I want, or the hot foil stamp I want, is going to be included when I die cut. Okay, so it doesn't have to be exact, but kind of there. Okay, and then I'm going to pour the Go Press and foil over and put that on so it can warm up. So put that to one side. Here's my Go Press and foil. So if I hold these together, having figured out where I want it, and turn this over, I can kind of hold these together and put this down. I'm going to line it up with the two on this side and against the edge of the hot plate, position it there. And if you're not sure you're going to remember that it needs to go where that two is, put a pencil mark on the white plastic. It won't do it any harm. I'm going to put one that end as well. And that will remind me, and it's that edge that I need to line up. Okay, so I've marked the edge I'm lining up with this side and the 2 points top and bottom. I can take my card off and I can put my hot foil stamp to warm up. And while it's warming up, I can cut my foil to size. So I'm using Couture Creations foil. I'm using silver. And there we are. So I'll cut a piece of foil. Cut a piece off the roll. And then I probably only want half of this. About half that way, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, half will be plenty. There we are, and I'll keep the other piece. I'm making another card perhaps. Okay, so my Go Press and foil is now showing that it's warmed up to temperature. So I'm going to pull that out, add my foil. There we are, covering the whole of the hot foil stamp. I'm going to position my card, and I've put my white mark so I know which edge I'm lining up where. I need some card shims. I keep mine in a packet so I can keep reusing them. There we are. 2 layers should be enough for me for this hot foil stamp and this card. And I'll just make sure that stays warm while I get the die cutting machine out, so bear with me. Okay, so I've just brought in the die cutting machine and repositioned my camera. I'm just waiting for the Go Press to come back to temperature. The red flashing light has just come on. There we are, it's gone green. So here, I'll take that off the base, roll it through the die cutting machine slowly, and I just feel the pressure increase when I get to the hot foil stamp, just a little bit, but I can still roll smoothly. I haven't got to force the handle to turn, just roll it through. There we are. Put that back on the base, put this out the way. Okay, so let's see how our foiling turned out. The shims off. Lift the card. I'll put a little bit of rubber foiling maybe. Okay, so there we are. So there's my foiling, and then I just need to decide where to put my die. I kind of want that as a corner element. I could even go a bit sideways like that. Yeah, so that's why you leave some extra space around it. So when you've actually got it foiled, you can look exactly how you want to position the square frame. And you can look and decide how that's going to look with your sentiment. As I say, I went off the edge, and I wanted it to be kind of deliberately off the edge rather than looking like I just missed. So that will go there, my sentiment in the corner. And then I'm also going to use the sunflower stamp, and stamp with some ink as well. So and again, I'm going to do these off the edge. Okay, so before I do my stamping, I'm going to die cut my square. So let's just bring the die cutting machine back in. And get that die cut. So bear with me. Okay, so I've just put the die cutting machine back in. Cutting platform. Where have I put that? Come on. Okay, so I have just popped a bit of tape to hold my die in the position where I've decided I want it. That goes on the die cutting machine. I like to use a plastic pocket. And I can roll it through. And there we have our die cut. Okay, so now I need to sort out where I want things stamped on that. So for this next part, I like to use a stamp platform, because having taken the time to figure out and get my foiling where I want it, the last thing I want to do is then stamp in the wrong place. So I'm just going to use a small stamp platform and stamp my sentiment. I have a small sentiment stamp here, and the sentiment can be whatever you want. That's going to go there. I'm going to do that first. Let's just grab my ink. Okay, so that's the first part done, sentiment in place, and then I'm just going to change my stamp over, ready to stamp the sunflower. Okay, so to stamp the sunflower, I'm going to use some inexpensive pigment inks in green and light blue, and I might use some purple as well. So first of all, I need to decide where I want my sunflower. Again, it's great to have a stamp platform to be able to do this, so I can just decide. I want just a bit of flower in the corner there. Okay, and put that down. Close my stamp platform. Ink up my stamp. Alright, I'm going to do my flower in blue. I want a bit of green on the leaf, and maybe a little bit in the middle of the flower. So I'm just putting both inks on there at the same time. And that just stamps the outline for me. If I want it a bit bolder, I can re-ink. Go again. There we are. And then I'm going to just clean the excess ink off my stamp and reposition it to stamp down in this corner. And deciding where I want it. Yeah, I think I'll move the card up. Make it easier to have the stamp overhanging the edge. So position that. Maybe coming up there. That's it. So this is why I wanted to do the sentiment first, so I can then arrange the sunflower with it. Your sentiment might be a bit larger than mine, or smaller than mine, or slightly differently positioned. So there we are, that can go there. Pick up the stamp, inking again with the blue and the green. A bit more ink on those lower petals. That's better. Okay, so there I've got my outline stamped. And then I wanted some colour. I wanted to fill in the flower. So I'm going to now take this out of my stamp press. Make sure my magnets don't escape. And then I'm going to use some colour from my ink pads with a water brush. Now you could just use an ordinary paintbrush. You don't want it very wet, and I would suggest you have some paper towel or scrap paper nearby. And in fact, I'm going to use some scrap card from my die cut, just so I can see how wet my brush is and how much ink I'm going to transfer. Now, if I poured this on watercolour card, then I could pull more of the ink out of what I've stamped. But this is not watercolour card. This is a very smooth white card, and the ink doesn't tend to move when you get it wet particularly. So I'm going to need to add some extra ink. So let's do some blue first. So I'm just going to Press that on my glass mat. Make sure I've got water coming through the water brush. Pick up some colour. I can do a bit of a test. That's fine. And I'm just going to fill in the petals. Okay, it's not going to obliterate the lines, it's just going to add a little bit of colour. It's really quite quick to do. There we are. And I can do the ones on my foiled flower as well. So it's pigment ink that I'm using, which, if you're not sure, they tend to be the cheap ink pads. And basically they're a water-based ink. And it kind of sits over the surface of things. Okay, there's my petals, and I need to do my other sunflower over here. So I've just chosen colours that match in with the pattern paper from the Petite Jardin paper pad. There we are. Okay, and I can add a bit more colour in the middle, or just spread out what's there. Soften the detail in the middle of the flower. Okay, and then wipe up what's left. Take some green. Do my leaves. Get a bit more water coming through there. That's better. Bit more water coming through. So quite a low flow water brush. So you might be wanting to dab your water brush on some tissue before you actually put it in your ink. You know, colour just wherever you want. Now when you go over your foiling, it quite often looks like you've covered up the foiling, but when the ink dries, it just disappears from where the foil is. It's just the water sitting on top, really. I need a little bit more green. Just going to clean that. There we are. So that will do for the green. And then I decided to do the other little flowers in purple. clean my brush. And there we are. Okay, so that's how I put together the topper for the card, combining the foiling and the stamping. Okay, thanks for watching.